Time to bring you some breaking news story now. The Cape Coast High Court has ordered for fresh elections in Asin North. The judge has also ordered Joe Quayson to stop holding himself as MP for the area. My colleague in the region, Richard Kojo-Nyarko, joins us via Zoom. He's been attending court proceedings since they began and joins us with more. First off, Richard, quick reactions from the lawyers of Mr. Joe Quayson.
Well, so the lawyers are here to react to the judgment of the High Court. In fact, for the NDC, the national chairman plus other national executives are here, and they are here to speak. But there were some jubilation from the other side. They felt that the ends of justice have been served. In fact, today's ruling, the court divided them into, or the 4 issues were set down for trial. The first one was that an issue was raised against the capacity of the applicant, Michael Ankumanimfa, but the court overruled it. The court said that so far as he is a resident hailed from that place, then it means that the original jurisdiction of the court has been properly invoked. And then there was also a challenge on the applicability of that particular challenge in court. And then the court again said that, well, once the elections have been conducted by the Electoral Commission and then the results have been declared, then that particular challenge is very competent, and so the court will not disturb it. And then they moved on to the next issue, whether the Electoral Commission erred in going about its duties. The court said that, well, it is trite law that when the Electoral Commission is conducting its elections, the court will not interfere unless there is an illegality or an unconstitutionality. That is where the court's jurisdiction would be invoked. On the matter of Article 94, that became the bone of contention. And when it actually kicks in, the court said that the Asin North MP's case was destroyed when he presented the renunciation certificate. The renunciation certificate had 26th November 2020. So that was some few days to the December elections. But the Electoral Commission also opened nomination between the 5th and 9th October. So at the time of filing, Mr. Joe Quayson, according to the court, was not qualified and so was not properly placed to contest that particular election. The court also went on further to say that it would be erroneous and it would be a scar and a blot on Ghana's legal jurisprudence should they allow this to stand. And so it would be a cancerous tumor in Ghana's elections if Mr. Joe Quayson is allowed. So at the time of filing, he held 2 citizenship. In fact, some facts were laid bare that Mr. Joe Quayson went to Canada in 1983, and then in the early 1990s, he secured his citizenship, and since then has been working for the Canadian the Canadian government. And so if he has applied for his renunciation, the mere application does not mean that he has indeed renounced his citizenship. In fact, it is when he received the communication or the approval from the Canadian authorities that, in fact, today he is not a Canadian citizen. It is that time that his dual nationality kicks in. And so we are done. The court just gave the consequential orders and the declaration that fresh elections have to be conducted in the Asin North constituency because certain constitutional and statutory provisions were breached by the Asin North MP, Article 94(2)A, and then other provisions as well. And so a cost of 40,000 has been awarded against the Asin North MP as well. So we are here at the principal of the court, the national chairman, as well as members of the NPP. They are here. They are about speaking to the media. So we are waiting for their reactions and we'll bring their reactions to our audience.
Definitely, Richard. But it's been quite an interesting court journey. Run us through it.
Well, okay. So, Benis, this started when Mr. Joe Quayson contested the primaries. And so there were issues about his legibility, but it was dealt with within the internal party politics of the NDC. And then on the between 5th and 9th of December 2020, 5th and 9th October, the Electoral Commission opened nomination, and so he filed to contest. But when he filed to contest, there was a petition from the constituency by some concerned youth urging the EC to disqualify him. The EC invited Mr. Joe Quayson to respond to the issues that have been raised in the petition. So the EC said, well, he could go ahead and contest, because when there are other issues bordering on legality as to whether he qualifies or not, it would be brought before the court. And so that's exactly what has been done. So he went ahead to campaign, and then he won. But before the campaign, before the elections, on the 26th, the renunciation certificate was received by Mr. Joe Quayson. And so he said that he applied for the renunciation certificate in December 2019. And so the approval came on November 26, 2020. And so that is where the approval came. And according to the court, it is when the approval came, that is when he was deemed to not have another citizenship apart from Ghana. So it's been a long legal battle, capacities with respect to the person that filed the matter in court, and Michael Ankuma is a resident of Asin North. And so it's been on and on. The Asin North Member of Parliament has changed about 3 lawyers. The first was Mr. Kujuga Adaudu. The second to hold the fort was Mr. Abraham Amalba. And then lawyer Justine also held the fort. They went to the Supreme Court yesterday. And the Supreme Court, they went there ostensibly to quash the decision of the High Court that prevented them from having oral submissions, but rather written submission. Let's also place on record that when the courts in Cape Coast asked for the written submissions of the various parties, the MPs' lawyers never filed their written submissions, but that of the Electoral Commission and the petitioner, they filed their written submissions. And so that must be put on record. And so today, when the matter came up, the judge addressed that it should have been so. They should have filed their written submissions, and then the issues would have been put in the proper perspective. But that would not tie his hands in going ahead with the judgment. And so here we are. So the journey so far has been thus.
And so what's the general mood? I know we are yet to hear from the NDC chairman, but what are you picking from, especially the residents who are now going to be faced with the by-election?
Well, so if you just suppose this one with the interlocutory injunction that was issued, or the order by the court on the 6th of January, you remember perfectly to Mr. George Achikwesim from holding himself as a member of parliament. It brought about a lot of controversy, brouhaha in parliament because of the numbers, the plus and minus numbers in parliament. At that time, the crowd here was very, very thick. The residents came here in their numbers. They chanted songs and all of that. But it is conspicuously absent today. It appears as if people anticipated that this was going to be the end result of this particular case. And so we had the police very thick as usual when the matters come up like this. And so they are here. But it is only the party national executives and the regional executives that are here. But I have not really seen a lot of the residents from Asin North who came to give their support to their member of parliament on the 6th of January. That of celebration from the other side. And then here, that of the NDC camp, they appear to be thinking about what to do, the next step to make.
Yeah, Richard Kojo-Nyarko is our correspondent in the Central Region. We'll be getting back to him shortly when we are able to pick reactions from the court. But we would also try and reach a lawyer for some questions to be answered on this particular incident. If you're just joining us, the breaking news story is that the Cape Coast High Court has ordered for fresh elections in Asin North, and has also ordered Mr. Joe Quayson from holding himself, barred him from holding himself as MP for Asin North. Given the facts of the case, my colleague Richard Kojo-Nyarko, who's been in court since this case began, told us that Mr. Quayson says he applied for renunciation of his Canadian citizenship in 2019, December 2019, but he received a response in November 2020. And at that time, he had already applied to be MP, or to stand on the ticket of the NDC as MP in the 2020 elections. Now, the question is, would he be able to come back now that he's received this certificate, though after his application at the Electoral Commission. We'll get all these questions answered for you in subsequent bulletins. But thank you so much for your time here on the Joy News channel. We are home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. I am Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Apologies we couldn't bring you business and sports because of the breaking news story. But head to myjoyonline.com for everything news. Up next is Joy News Interactive with Mapito CBD. Do stay.